Welcome back. You're watching Vaticano. Rome. The city was once the center of a great empire. As early as the 2nd century BC, the Roman Republic had stretched its boundaries over southern Europe and North Africa. And at its heyday, the empire ruled over the whole known ancient world. Hence the second name of Rome, Caput Mundi, which in Latin means the capital of the world. Ancient Rome brought the world a lot of scientific and cultural inventions. Perhaps among the most impressive are the building techniques and waterproof cement and concrete, Roman law, and an efficient road system. Rome also became a protagonist in the spreading of the gospel. Both St. Peter and St. Paul were martyred here. And after a period of persecution, Christianity finally flourished in Rome to then spread all over the world. We know a lot about Rome, but more still has to be discovered, due to the fact that Rome has always been inhabited and, as a consequence, has been in a state of constant rebuilding all through the centuries. It's difficult to say exactly what the city looked like at the time it was formed. The answer to this question lies not in Rome and above ground, but underground in the nearby sister city of Gabii. Gabii emerged on the southeastern side of a volcanic crater lake called Lacus Gabinus, about 15 miles southeast of Rome. The city vanished in the first millennium AD, and the lake was transformed into fields for agriculture. A few years ago, the University of Michigan became interested in discovering this ancient town.
So the project has been going on for about 10 years, thanks to an excavation permit that is granted by the Superintendenza Archeologica di Roma, and the permit is held by the Kelsey Museum of Archaeology at the University of Michigan. But there is also a wider collaboration with other universities, Yale University, University of Glasgow, Carleton University, University of Dallas, and these are all young professors that have decided to join forces with us and bring their own students. So we have about 45 undergraduates on site, which makes it one of the largest American excavations in the whole of the Mediterranean. And then about 20 graduate students all working together for a total of over 70 people on site on an average day.
Professor Nicola Terrenato knows the city better than anyone else. He's been working here since the very beginning of the excavations.
So Gabii was first occupied in the early Iron Age, what we call the early Iron Age, so in the 9th, 8th century BC, by very small groups of settlers that progressively merged together to form a city. And then the city acquired city walls and large public buildings. It kind of peaked in the 3rd and 2nd centuries BC, and then it started shrinking. Probably because of the competition of Rome, it became smaller, much smaller than it used to be.
Gabii continued to have a living and thriving community until the 9th to 10th centuries AD.
And we know that there was a thriving Christian community that had a bishop as early as the 5th century, which is kind of unusual for a community of this size. So this probably means that even if it was a small community, it was considered to be very important because of the glory that Gabii had in the past.
One of the goals of the excavations is to find out if Gabii had a bishop's residence and a cathedral. The existence of the cathedral is an open question, but the recent excavations have found a church dedicated to Saint Primitivo, an early Christian martyr. This tower used to be the bell tower for the church before being converted later on in the Middle Ages into a watchtower.
We chose Gabii for an excavation because for a variety of reasons. This is a site that had not been excavated previously, so you had a whole city that you can investigate. But even more importantly, this is a site that really illustrates well the birth and the decline of the ancient city. We see here things that you cannot see in Rome because of all the later phases being on top.
These scholars and students are the pioneers of Gabii. Andrew JOHNSTON from Yale University started working at this site as a graduate student, and today he is a professor and the leader of the trench excavations.
So in addition to the research questions that drive us here at the Gabii project, one of our priorities is training the next generation of North American archaeologists. And so to that end, we run a field school for usually between 40 and 50 undergraduates from all over North America.
A typical day at Gabii starts off with a small lecture.
All right, welcome everyone to the Area F building. So we've been here previously to talk a little bit about the reconstruction work and some of the rationale behind that. But now finally we're going to get around to talking about this really impressive monumental structure. I think it's a great opportunity to talk about this, especially on the heels of last night's lecture.
After the lecture and after each one has been assigned their daily tasks, the real archaeological adventure can start. Anna GALLONE makes sure that all the students get hands-on experience in all the different stages and labs.
The Gabii project started almost 10 years ago, and every year we welcome, in average, about 40 undergraduate students who work with us for 5 weeks. So it's a program that allows students to have literally their hands dirty and to learn how to be a field archaeologist. But it's not just, when you think about field archaeology, you think generally just about like digging up dirt. But students here do actually have the possibility to participate to all of the different aspects of the field work, meaning that they spend equal time on the field, working in the trenches and in the various labs that we have here set up on site.
The process starts with removing dirt from a certain area. Then the area, such as the revealed parts of a building, has to be cleaned with a brush. And layer by layer, the disappeared city comes to light again. The dirt that's been removed goes through a process called sieve. In this stage, finds and artifacts are retrieved by hand. Usually they are fragments of clay, wood, and iron. Samples are carefully selected and sent for further cleaning and grading. The best examples fall into these hands for identification. If the sifted dirt has been taken from an area where archaeologists suppose that there were living quarters, then it goes through a further stage called flotation. Flotation is used to maximize the recovery of small items, such as seeds and small bones. Thanks to this technique, scientists can accurately say, among other things, what Gabitanians used to eat for dinner.
One of our goals is to train students in the wide range of methodologies and tools of modern archaeology, not just working here in the trenches, but also in various labs supervised by specialists in ceramics, osteology, zooarchaeology, environmental archaeology, to teach students about all of the kinds of evidence and data that we're hoping to collect as we excavate, not just exposing architecture like this, but looking for other kinds of evidence that can tell us about the wide range of activities that were taking place at this city in antiquity.
This is my second season at Gabii, and I've worked in Area C both times. I really love Gabii. It's an incredible site because of the opportunities that students have here to learn. We work in the finds lab, we work with archaeobotanists, and we also work with zooarchaeologists. And it's a really great opportunity to learn. People here are really willing to teach you.
The main discovery so far is this enormous structure dating back to the 4th to the 3rd century BC.
Just to orient you a little bit, and we're now standing on the middle terrace of a large complex that originally was designed on 3 terraces.
Whether this large stone block construction was a public or a private building hasn't been established yet, but its big size makes it the earliest example of Roman monumental architecture.
This is the stone that Gabii was famous for in antiquity. The Lacus Gabinus, the Gabii stone, was a high-quality volcanic tuffo that was quarried inside the city and immediately outside the city. And beautiful buildings could be built, beautiful blocks. It was even used for the Forum of Augustus in Rome, and the city probably thrived on the trade of this kind of stone.
The connection between Gabii and Rome is the main reason for further archaeological investigations. The Gabii project wants to shed more light on the birth of the empire that laid the foundations of our modern civilization.